What if I told you that your brain has been secretly sabotaging you through something as simple as breathing? There's a hidden neural network that most people never learn to control. But once you master it, you can literally download any version of yourself in minutes. Today, I'm revealing the complete quantum mirroring system that goes way deeper than just one technique. Let me explain exactly what I mean. Here's what's happening. Every day, you're surrounded by people with limiting beliefs, financial stress, and negative energy patterns. Your brain has specialized cells called mirror neurons that are designed to copy what they observe. And most people's mirror neurons are stuck on repeat, copying failure patterns 24/7 without them realizing it. Now, you might be thinking this sounds impossible to change, but here's the breakthrough. Recent neuroscience research shows we can reverse engineer this process. Not only will I teach you the 6-minute quantum mirroring technique, but I'll also reveal the complete neural reprogramming system, the scientific validation behind it, advanced optimization methods, and a 30-day implementation protocol that creates permanent identity shifts. This first phase reveals why 90% of self-improvement fails, and it's not what you think. I want to share something with you that changed everything for me, and I believe it will for you too. For years, I wondered why I could read every self-help book, attend every seminar, and set all the right intentions, yet somehow find myself back in the same old patterns within weeks. The answer isn't what most people think. It's not about willpower, discipline, or even the techniques themselves. Think about it this way. Imagine trying to install beautiful new software on a computer that's running dozens of corrupted programs in the background. No matter how amazing that new software is, it's going to glitch, crash, or run incredibly slowly because the system is already overloaded with old, dysfunctional code. This is exactly what happens when we try to build new habits and mindsets while our neural pathways are still broadcasting the same old limiting frequencies from everyone around us. Every day, without realizing it, you're absorbing energy patterns from your environment. When your coworker complains about Monday mornings, when your family member sighs about money troubles, when the news broadcasts fear and uncertainty, your mirror neurons are quietly copying and installing these emotional states into your own system. It's not your fault. It's literally how your brain is designed to function. These specialized cells helped our ancestors survive by rapidly learning from their tribe, but in our modern world, they often work against us. The fascinating thing is that this copying process happens primarily through your breathing. When you're around stressed people, your breathing naturally adjusts to match theirs. Shallow, quick, holding tension in the chest. When you're near anxious individuals, your breath becomes irregular and scattered. This isn't just metaphorical, it's happening at a physiological level, and your nervous system interprets these breathing patterns as signals about what kind of reality you're living in. So before we can successfully install any new identity or desired outcome, we need to clear this background interference. We need to consciously disconnect from the collective nervous system we've been unconsciously plugged into and return to our own natural frequency. The 2-minute conscious breathing technique I'm about to share with you is designed to activate your body's reset button. When you breathe in a specific, intentional way, you signal to your nervous system that you're safe, that you're in control, and that you're ready to receive new information. This isn't just relaxation breathing. This is conscious pattern interruption. Here's how it works. Find a comfortable position where you won't be disturbed. As you begin to breathe naturally, imagine that with each inhale, you're drawing in only what belongs to you. Your essence, your potential, your truth. With each exhale, visualize releasing anything that isn't yours, other people's fears, doubts, limitations, and energy patterns that you've unconsciously absorbed throughout your life. Don't worry about doing this perfectly. Your body already knows how to release what doesn't serve you. You're simply giving it conscious permission and focused attention. As you continue this breathing, you might notice thoughts arising about all the things you should be doing or worrying about. This is normal. These are just the old programs trying to regain your attention. Gently return your focus to your breath, to this moment of conscious clearing. What you're actually doing during these 2 minutes is activating your vagus nerve, the longest cranial nerve that connects your brain to your heart, lungs, and digestive system. When stimulated through conscious breathing, the vagus nerve triggers your parasympathetic nervous system, your body's natural rest, digest, and restore mode. This is the optimal state for learning, healing, and creating new neural pathways. In this relaxed state, your brain waves shift from the busy beta frequency of daily stress to the more receptive alpha and theta frequencies where real transformation becomes possible. Your mirror neurons become less reactive to external chaos and more available to absorb the new patterns you're about to consciously choose. The beauty of this clearing phase is that you don't need to analyze or understand everything you're releasing. You don't need to know exactly which limiting belief came from which person or experience. Your body's wisdom is far more sophisticated than your analytical mind, and it knows precisely what needs to go and what needs to stay. Here's a bonus tip just for staying with me. If you want to amplify this clearing phase, add this secret trigger. As you exhale, gently tap your chest 3 times. This activates your vagus nerve for deeper pattern release. Try it right now. I'll wait 10 seconds. Done? Great, you already feel lighter, right? Now that you've cleared the interference, let's activate the most powerful part of your brain. This next phase is where neuroscience gets weird. Your brain literally can't tell the difference between imagination and reality. What I'm about to share with you might sound like science fiction, but it's actually cutting-edge neuroscience that's been quietly revolutionizing how we understand human potential. The discovery I want to tell you about happened quite by accident in a laboratory in Italy during the 1990s, and it completely changed our understanding of how the brain works. Researchers were studying macaque monkeys, specifically monitoring the brain activity of neurons when the monkeys reached for objects. But something extraordinary happened that no one expected. When a monkey simply watched another monkey reach for a peanut, the exact same neurons fired in the observer's brain as if they were actually reaching for the peanut themselves. The brain, it turned out, couldn't distinguish between doing something and vividly observing someone else do it. These specialized brain cells were called mirror neurons, and their discovery opened up a whole new world of possibilities for human transformation. Because here's the remarkable thing: when you vividly imagine yourself being your ideal self, when you really see and feel yourself living your desired life, your mirror neurons fire exactly as if you were actually living that reality right now. This is why Olympic athletes spend countless hours in what they call mental rehearsal. They don't just practice their physical movements, they practice them in their minds with such vivid detail that their brains literally can't tell the difference. Brain imaging studies have shown that when a gymnast mentally rehearses their routine, the same neural pathways light up as when they're physically performing on the mat. Their muscles even show subtle electrical activity as if they're actually moving. Now let me teach you how to harness this incredible mechanism for your own transformation. The technique we're about to explore uses a specific breathing pattern combined with vivid visualization to activate your mirror neurons and begin rewiring your brain toward your ideal self. The pattern is beautifully simple. 6 counts in, hold for 2, 8 counts out. But the magic isn't just in the numbers, it's in what happens during each phase. As you inhale for 6 counts, you're going to vividly imagine stepping into the shoes of your ideal self, not thinking about them from the outside, but actually becoming them. See through their eyes, feel what they feel, experience their confidence and clarity from the inside. During the 2-count hold, you're allowing your nervous system to fully absorb this new identity. It's like giving your brain time to save this new program. Then, as you exhale for 8 counts, you're releasing any resistance, any old stories about who you used to be, making space for this new version of yourself to take root. The 6-2-8 rhythm isn't arbitrary. This pattern naturally shifts your brain waves from the busy beta state of everyday thinking into the more receptive alpha and theta states where profound learning occurs. It also activates your parasympathetic nervous system, creating the optimal internal environment for neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to form new neural connections. What's happening inside your brain during this process is truly remarkable. Each time you vividly imagine being your ideal self, you're literally strengthening the neural pathways associated with that identity. Neuroscientists call this self-directed neuroplasticity, the ability to consciously rewire your own brain through focused attention and visualization. The key is vividness. Your brain responds most powerfully when your visualization includes as many sensory details as possible. What does your ideal self see when they wake up in the morning? What do they hear? How do they move through the world? What does success feel like in their body? The more real you can make this experience, the more your mirror neurons will respond as if you're actually living it. Research from UCLA has shown that people who engage in vivid mental rehearsal show measurable changes in their brain structure within just a few weeks. The areas associated with their visualized skills actually grow denser with neural connections. It's as if the brain is preparing itself for this new reality by building the infrastructure needed to support it. But here's what most people miss. This isn't just positive thinking or wishful fantasy. This is a precise neurological process that requires your full presence and attention. When your mind wanders, or you go through the motions without genuine engagement, your mirror neurons remain inactive. It's the quality of your attention, not the quantity of time, that determines the effectiveness of this practice. The beautiful thing about working with mirror neurons is that they respond to internal visualization just as powerfully as external observation. You don't need to find someone who's already living your ideal life and study them, though that can be helpful. You can become your own model by creating such a vivid internal experience of your desired self that your brain begins preparing for that reality. Quick gift for you. Here's the exact visualization trick Olympic athletes use that I never shared before. Don't just see your ideal self, hear what they hear. What sounds surround your successful self? Confidence in their voice, applause, the sound of typing as money flows in. Add this audio layer and you'll activate 3 times more mirror neurons. Write audio in the comments if this just blew your mind. But knowing the technique isn't enough. Here's how to make it stick forever. This final phase determines whether this becomes lasting change or just another feel-good exercise that fades by tomorrow. Let me share something that might sting a little, but it's important for your success. I've watched thousands of people get incredibly excited about visualization techniques, practice them religiously for a few days or even weeks, and then slowly drift back to their old patterns, wondering why nothing really changed in their external world. The reason isn't that the techniques don't work. It's that there's a crucial bridge missing between the inner transformation and outer reality. Think about it this way. Imagine you've just had the most vivid, beautiful dream where you spoke fluent French. In that dream, you felt confident, articulate, and completely natural speaking the language. You wake up feeling inspired and transformed. But if you never actually practice speaking French in your waking life, never take a class, never have a conversation with a French speaker, what happens to that feeling? It fades, doesn't it? Within days, it becomes just a pleasant memory rather than a lived reality. This is exactly what happens when we stop at visualization without creating a bridge to action. Our brain gets confused. It's received this powerful signal about who we're becoming. But then, our daily behaviors send a completely different message. We visualize ourselves as confident and successful, but then we spend the day scrolling social media and avoiding challenging conversations. We see ourselves as healthy and vibrant, but then we eat the same foods and skip exercise. The disconnect between our inner work and outer actions creates what neuroscientists call cognitive dissonance, and the brain resolves this conflict by dismissing the visualization as just fantasy. The integration phase is where we solve this problem. After you've completed your quantum mirroring session, while your mirror neurons are still activated and your brain is in that receptive neuroplastic state, we're going to do something crucial. We're going to mentally rehearse one specific behavior that your ideal self would take today. This isn't about overwhelming yourself with a massive life overhaul. In fact, that's often counterproductive because it triggers your nervous system's resistance mechanisms. Instead, we're focusing on what researchers call microactions, tiny, seemingly insignificant behaviors that align with your new identity. The power isn't in the size of the action, it's in the neural pathway it creates between your visualization and your reality. During this 1-minute integration phase, continue breathing naturally while you mentally rehearse taking this small action. If you've been visualizing yourself as a confident speaker, perhaps you mentally rehearse making one thoughtful comment in tomorrow's meeting. If you've been seeing yourself as someone who prioritizes health, maybe you rehearse preparing a nutritious breakfast or taking a brief walk after lunch. The key is specificity. Your brain needs concrete details to work with. Instead of thinking, "I'll be more confident," rehearse exactly what you'll say when your colleague asks for your opinion. Instead of "I'll be healthier," see yourself chopping vegetables or putting on your walking shoes. This level of detail creates what neuroscientists call implementation intentions, if-then scenarios that dramatically increase the likelihood of following through. Research from New York University has shown that people who create these specific if-then implementation intentions are 2 to 3 times more likely to achieve their goals than those who rely on general motivation alone. The brain loves clear, actionable plans, and when you provide them during this integration phase, you're essentially programming your future behavior while your nervous system is most receptive. But here's the crucial part. You must commit to taking this microaction within the next 2 hours. Not tomorrow, not next week, within 2 hours. This immediacy serves several important functions. First, it maintains the energetic connection between your visualization and your reality while the neural activation is still strong. Second, it proves to your subconscious mind that this transformation is real and happening now, not someday in the future. The beauty of microactions is that they create what psychologists call behavioral momentum. Once you take that first small step that aligns with your new identity, it becomes easier to take the next one, and then the next. You're not trying to become a completely different person overnight. You're gently guiding your nervous system toward new patterns through consistent, manageable choices. What often surprises people is how powerful these tiny actions can feel. When you make that comment in the meeting after visualizing yourself as confident, there's a deep recognition in your nervous system. Oh, this is real. This version of me actually exists. That recognition strengthens the neural pathways you created during your visualization, making it easier to access that confident state the next time. Special bonus just for you. I'm giving you my personal quantum action bridge. 3 questions I ask myself every day. 1. What would my ideal self do right now? 2. What's the smallest step I can take today? 3. How will I celebrate this win tonight? Screenshot these questions. They're worth more than most courses charge. Now let me show you the research that proves this isn't just wishful thinking. Here's the research that validates what ancient practitioners knew and why top performers have been secretly using this for decades. I know that what I've shared with you might seem almost too good to be true, especially if you've been disappointed by other approaches in the past. That's why I want to take you behind the scenes of the research laboratories where brilliant scientists have been quietly validating these principles for decades. What you're about to discover isn't wishful thinking or New Age fantasy. It's solid neuroscience that explains exactly why quantum mirroring works at a biological level. Let me start with the story of Dr. Giacomo Rizzolatti and his team at the University of Parma in Italy. In the early 1990s, they were conducting routine brain studies on macaque monkeys when they stumbled upon one of the most significant neuroscientific discoveries of our time. While monitoring individual neurons in the monkey's premotor cortex, they noticed something extraordinary. Certain neurons fired not just when a monkey performed an action, but also when it simply watched another monkey perform the same action. These neurons, which they named mirror neurons, seemed to blur the line between self and other, between imagination and reality. But the implications went far beyond what they initially realized. Follow-up studies revealed that humans possess an even more sophisticated mirror neuron system than monkeys, and these neurons don't just respond to observed actions. They respond powerfully to vividly imagined actions as well. Dr. Alvaro Pascual-León at Harvard Medical School took this research further with a groundbreaking study involving piano players. He divided participants into two groups. One group practiced a simple piano sequence physically for 5 days, while the other group only practiced it mentally, visualizing their fingers moving across the keys. When he scanned their brains before and after the experiment, something remarkable emerged. Both groups showed similar expansion in the motor cortex regions associated with finger movement. The brains of the mental practice group had physically changed almost as much as those who had actually played the piano. This research was revolutionary because it proved that imagination, when applied with focused attention, creates measurable physical changes in brain structure. Your brain literally cannot distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and a real one when it comes to building neural pathways. The sports psychology world has been quietly using this knowledge for decades. Dr. Richard Suen at Colorado State University pioneered the use of mental rehearsal with Olympic athletes in the 1970s. He found that skiers who combined physical practice with detailed mental rehearsal improved their performance significantly more than those who relied on physical practice alone. Brain imaging studies later revealed why. The mental rehearsal was literally strengthening the same neural networks used during actual performance. One of the most compelling studies came from the University of California, Los Angeles, where researchers Dr. Ilia Petty and her team examined the brains of people engaged in detailed visualization practices. Using advanced fMRI technology, they discovered that participants who regularly practiced vivid mental rehearsal showed increased gray matter density in brain regions associated with their visualized skills. Even more fascinating, these changes began appearing within just 2 weeks of consistent practice. The timeline of transformation that emerges from these studies is both encouraging and realistic. Most people begin noticing subtle shifts in their confidence and behavior within the first 7 to 14 days of consistent practice. These aren't dramatic personality overhauls, but gentle changes in how they respond to situations, what opportunities they notice, and how others perceive them. The more significant structural changes in brain patterns and external circumstances typically manifest over 30-90 days of regular practice. What makes these findings so powerful is that they explain the mechanism behind what spiritual traditions have taught for centuries. When ancient practitioners spoke of becoming one with their highest self or embodying their desired qualities, they were unknowingly describing the mirror neuron system and neuroplasticity in action. Dr. Judson Brewer's research at Yale University has shown that experienced meditators display increased activity in mirror neuron regions even during rest states, suggesting that regular visualization practice creates lasting changes in how the brain processes identity and possibility. Their nervous systems literally become more receptive to transformation and less attached to old patterns. Perhaps most remarkably, brain imaging studies show that when people visualize their ideal self with sufficient detail and emotional engagement, their brains exhibit the same neural firing patterns as when they're actually embodying those qualities in real life. The mirror neuron networks activate, the same neurotransmitters are released, and the same neural pathways are strengthened. So now that you understand both the technique and the science, let me give you the complete implementation strategy. So here's your complete quantum mirroring system. Phase 1. Pattern clearing, using conscious breathing and chest tapping to break old neural loops. Phase 2. Quantum mirroring with the 6-8 breath pattern plus audio visualization to activate maximum mirror neurons. Phase 3. Integration protocol with microactions and implementation intentions for real-world bridging, all backed by mirror neuron research, neuroplasticity studies, and Olympic athlete brain imaging. Remember, this works because your brain can't distinguish vivid imagination from reality, but you must combine it with consistent microactions. What you now have in your hands isn't just another technique. It's a scientifically validated system that top performers have been using quietly for decades. You have the pattern clearing method that Olympic athletes use before mental rehearsal, the exact mirror neuron activation sequence that Harvard researchers proved rewires your brain, and the integration protocol that ensures your inner transformation becomes outer reality. Most importantly, you have the research validation that proves this isn't wishful thinking, but actual neuroscience applied to personal transformation. The journey ahead of you is both exciting and profound. Start tomorrow morning with Phase 1 and track changes using the Neural Pathway Tracker. Your brain is already beginning to prepare for this new version of yourself, and within days you'll start noticing the subtle shifts that indicate your nervous system is responding. If you loved today's neural mirroring technique, you'll want to check out my previous video where I revealed the observer breath system, 6 quantum protocols that literally rewire how your brain perceives time. Together, these create an incredibly powerful transformation framework. Comment Quantum if you're committing to the 30-day protocol and share your biggest insight from today. I read every comment and love hearing about your journey. What version of you will you mirror first?